postpartum is hard and it's lonely and it's scary because society has conditioned you to be joyful about the fact that you are a new mother. So why am I sad? Why am I anxious? Why am I angry? Why am I crying? Why is everything heavy? Why is my body going left when I'm asking it to go right? Like I thought that when the children showed up, my forgetfulness or my poor time management skills would just automatically get better because kids were here. No, it got worse, you guys. Like my time management skills got worse. Time blindness for me got worse after the children were born. My inability to complete a task got worse. My lack of organizational skills got worse. Good morning, good afternoon. Please give me my clapper first of all. I want it. We bought this clapper from the UK.
Oh, you should have told it's imported now.
Imported clapper. If I hear saying this clapper no feature, everybody please. I don't care what's written on it. Eric, use the clapper.
Empty clapper. Take off. Is it free?
So hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching and listening from. My name is Feyi and you're welcome to this episode of the Motherwell podcast. How is motherhood treating you today, or rather, what are you grateful for in your motherhood today? I am very grateful for the fact that I feel like I'm very in tune with my children. Doesn't mean I understand and I accept or agree with every bad behavior, but I understand where it's coming from. So this weekend we had a party. There was a party that my children were invited to. Hans Arene turned 10. Happy birthday, Hans Arene. And they had a kids party and then they had an adults party, but this one we went to the kids party. And as I was getting ready for the party, I was like, I don't want to take my kids. I want to go and have a good time. I knew that there'll be things to do and play and things to eat, and I just wanted to make sure that I actually just prioritize self. So I was being very, very selfish on then. I didn't take my children. I didn't even tell them there was a party. I just went. I got there. I saw every single one of their friends. I saw all my friends who brought their kids, and I immediately felt like, oh man, let me just carry these children. Let me just bring them. So I called their dad. He was trying to figure out what to do with them. I was like, who could bring them to this bash? Let them come. So when my daughter got there, she just immediately, like when she got there, she was just in a bad mood. Like you couldn't get her to do anything. She didn't want to play. She was just stroppy, like bad vibes. And one thing I understood about that situation was I knew exactly why she was in bad mood. I understood why. It was one of those things where you come to a party, so someone had a party, and I was almost like, why am I an afterthought? Like, why am I just coming at this time? Why didn't I wear a nicer outfit? Like, what happened before I got here? Why am I coming to the end of it? And it was just something that I was able to understand where she was coming from. And because I understood where she was coming from, I was able to not necessarily apologize, because you self navigate your own. Like, it's not like I was like, I think I was just grateful for the fact that I knew what was happening in her head, because sometimes kids act up and you don't know why. And you don't know what's happening. Because I was explaining it to my friend who was there. I was like, this is exactly what's going on. And she was like, oh. And I realized, wow, I'm actually very in tune with my children. Now, did I fix it? No, because you're here now. What are we going to do? I mean, we still ended up having a very good time. But because I knew how she was feeling, I was able to, I guess, navigate it with a bit of wisdom. And I'm very grateful, and I pray that I will always be in tune. I'll always know what's happening. Even when the behavior is irrational, I'll always be able to understand it so that I can maneuver it for success. In Jesus' name, amen. It's motherhood is every day table tennis. You're always catching balls that are flying in the air, and I'm just like, so that was a win for me this weekend. It's not that we were able to fix it. I don't think my goal was to fix it. I think it was just to understand it and then possibly, just navigate it with some wisdom, with some empathy, and also find a way to teach her a lesson about sometimes life is just not going to go your way, right? Anyway, today's episode, though, I think from the title you can see that it's not necessarily even a heavy one. The topic of today's episode is postpartum depression, and I I actually can't believe that this episode is just coming now, because postpartum depression is the reason why I started podcasting for moms in the first place. I just had my son, and I was just feeling very broken, shattered, alone, scared, angry, confused, very disappointed in everything and myself. It was just very heavy and lonely. And thankfully, when I gave birth to my son, I had a lot of I call them my sets. In my set of pregnant women that year, I had like 6 of my friends who had just had babies, and so we were able to talk to each other, and everybody was feeling it in one different way or the other, but we were definitely feeling it. And it was one of those things where I wouldn't say we're ashamed to admit it to each other, but I would say it was alarming, like, because we had been praying over our pregnancies together, and then when the children came, there was just not that joy that you'd expect. And for each of us, it hit us differently. I remember for one of my friends, she didn't want anybody to look at her body. She didn't even want to, like, her husband to touch her. For one of my friends, she couldn't even, for that one of my friends, she was like, she just wanted to get back to work, and she was like, I don't feel connected to this baby, I just want to go back to work. And we had that conversation with lots of tears and stress. I think for me, I was just in a state of, can we wrap this up? Like, I didn't enjoy a lot of what I should have been enjoying about that new baby stage. I was just like, can this boy just start talking to me so that I can know what his issues are? It was just very heavy. And as heavy as it was, I just didn't feel like I could talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it because it was ugly to even admit to myself, and then to even expose these parts of myself. Like, society tells women, you've had a baby, congratulations. You know what's the craziest thing? When somebody's congratulating you and you're like, for what? Like, in theory what has happened is a great thing, but your brain is just like, like, it was just not, I just didn't feel, I know in theory that I'm thankful to God that my baby is alive and well, but my emotions and my body feels like shit. Like, I really just felt very, I don't even know how to explain. Even now it's uncomfortable because it's so, like, postpartum is so yucky, because but don't you know that you're supposed to be thankful to God? It could have been any other. I hear that, but, like, also, like, you don't know how it's doing me in my body right now. Like, it was very heavy. I felt I felt the ugliest I've ever felt. I looked the ugliest I've ever looked. So I had to quit my job around that time, because that was also when I realized I can't go back to work in the way I can't show up in the way that I need to, at least not for the next 2 years. And I don't want to have to go through that thing of trying to prove myself to a team that needs me to deliver. So I was like, let me just leave my job, because the job I was in, I would have had to be going to Abuja a lot. I was like, I can't. So coming into the understanding of the fact that I can't do the work that pays me anymore, I can't, things were happening in people's lives, like all the fun things I was missing out on, because I couldn't just up and go. Like, there's just so many things that seem like small things, but postpartum is very, they call it the 4th trimester. So the first 3 months after the baby is born is, I guess, what you call like the major. It's actually studies say the first 6 weeks. I'm here to debunk all those myths, because I'm still inside postpartum. 2 years in, almost 3. I read somewhere that it takes 7 years, and honestly, I agree. I think it does take longer than 1 year, 2 years, 6 weeks. I think postpartum can be the feelings, the aftershocks of having a child, being pregnant and having a child and raising children. I think you don't start to feel like yourself until maybe 6 years after, 7 years after the child is born. So if you're still like me and you've had a baby almost 2-3 years ago and you're still feeling like you haven't come back to yourself, it takes a while. Now, this episode has come about now because a very good friend of mine just had a baby, and my girl is crashing out, and she's crashing out in a way that is so, it reminds me so much of what I went through. And I guess this is in many ways the conversation I wish she and I could have, but she's also not trying to say all the things that are affecting her right now because she also doesn't want to come across as, there's that thing of, you know how women always, I don't want to sound like, so I want to give us permission, I'm giving myself permission today to say all the yucky things so that you don't feel alone, right? I remember when I just had, I don't know which one of the kids, but I just felt, I just felt very like, is this it? Okay. I'm supposed to feel this euphoric sense of, I've been waiting for this my whole life. So you mean tell me I still have to walk towards that feeling? Like, I was happy I was happy about motherhood, and I was joyful, and my children, they did bring me a lot of joy, but the mother, like being the parent was not, that felt good. Like seeing the children, having them, feeding them and doing all of that felt good. But like just me by myself, how I felt about myself, I felt like after giving birth, I should have felt empowered and strong and proud. And I just felt like very deflated, and I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel empowered. I actually just felt like, man, this sucks. Like, I felt lost in it. Like I couldn't even find myself in it. And I used to do these very elaborate things to try to, almost like, you know how when something is dead and you have to shock, what's that thing where you have to go, like, you know that Grey's Anatomy thing where they put those plates on your chest to like get you come out. I used to do things that would actively make me like feel like I was feeling something, just so that I could come back to myself in a way. And even those things didn't work. The only thing that really worked, you guys, was one time the children grew out of certain stages that freed me up to be more human and to belong to myself a bit more. Like every day I felt like I was stealing a bit of myself from my children. And then God, and that's actually why I tell people that I met God in motherhood, because it was dark. Like I had children and I just couldn't find joy outside of, and I did not want to depend on my children for my joy, because that's also something that's another slippery slope, and God forbid. It wasn't that the children did not bring me joy. It was that the only thing that brought me joy were the children, and that was scary, because before children, Feyi was a whole human being that had hopes and dreams and got excited about things, and then children showed up in the world, and if they were sad, I was down. If they would cry, I would cry. And it's like, girl, is it that you're so far gone that you can't even find any kind of joy outside of these little people? Like, it was just not nice. It was not nice. And it was really also the fact that I didn't feel like I felt like an ingrate. I felt very ungrateful. I felt like I was, there are people that are looking for what you have, and you that you have it, you are not and it's like, can two things exist at once? This is a blessing, but what the hell, what the like, this is a blessing, but like, damn, this sucks. Like, all your clothes, I remember when I had to get rid of like 60% of my closet because it didn't fit, or even the ones that fit, the way I fit into it was just depressing. Throw it out. And for me, fashion was always a very big part of who I was. So not even being able to fit into my clothes that my closet that I curated for my whole life, like I now had to find a whole new sense of style. I tried to like make it fun. I tried to Pinterest and do like a whole mood board on who am I now. No, it wasn't nice. Like, I absolutely hated having to rediscover my style for a new body that I did not like. I was explaining to Biduni, I was like, I think what made postpartum really hard for me was, it's not like my self-confidence was like 1,000%. I think I was managing myself. I didn't love myself. I was managing myself. And then I got pregnant and I had a baby. And then the version of me that was managing, I now felt so far from that. So I was now trying to love the version of me that was worse than the version of me that was managing. And then the version of me that I was aspiring to now felt so far. And whenever I would even try and start some self-care journey to get to like a better version of myself, the distance between the dream and my reality was, till tomorrow I still haven't been able to see, like, I don't have a gym routine or a fitness routine because it's so heavy. Like, how far away I am from what I want for myself in terms of what my body looks like, in terms of career, in terms of everything. And it just felt so heavy. Like, one time I read somewhere that when you have a baby, sometimes you just have to put your life on pause. Like, you and that baby are born on the same day. So the version of you that existed before that child was born no longer exists. You and that baby are born, you're twins. Both of you are reborn that day. So happy birthday to the baby, happy birthday to you too. Welcome to the world. You are completely new. And I think what makes it so hard is that you were already on the way coming. Like, I had a baby at 27. So I had 27 years of Feyi, and then I had to start again. And nobody told me that I was starting again. I did not know I was starting again. I was so sure I was continuing. So I had the baby and I thought, okay, I'm just going to get up and I'm going to continue. And then and then it turns out you can't continue. But nobody told me that I was starting again. It just felt like I was failing. Like, every time I would set a goal for myself, now I think about some of those goals, highly unrealistic. Oh, I'll be back in the gym after 3 weeks or 6 weeks. The minute the doctor gives me the all clear, I'll do this, I'll do that. There were just so many things that I had said I would do that just felt very, in hindsight, unkind. You wouldn't ask a new baby to start running the same way you don't ask a new mother. Like, I mean, some people are able to give themselves lofty ambitions and they're able to match them, make them, even exceed them. This is not to say that you shouldn't. If you can, go for it. But in my case, I could not. Everything I set up for myself that I said I wanted to do, it took me at least a year, 6 months, 10 months after the baby was born. In fact, some of my dreams are just coming true this year. I'm just getting back to myself this year. In many ways, I think the Mom Fund was really the start of me healing and coming back to the Feyi that I've always known. And I'm still, my son is going to be 3 in December, so I'm still in it. So yeah. Hi, I just want to quickly pop in and remind you that this episode is brought to you by Swaddle. Now, Swaddle is an AI assistant that helps moms stay organized, puts you in community with like-minded moms. We're keeping you on your self-care, self-love journey so you continue to put yourself on top of your to-do list, and we're making sure that you have an AI assistant that is like your inbuilt virtual assistant to just assist you on your journey, because motherhood is hard, okay? But we got this. So please follow us on Instagram at swaddle.app. Click the link in our bio, join our community, and until it launches, we'll continue to have a good time. So back to the episode. Postpartum is hard and it's lonely and it's scary because society has conditioned you to be joyful about the fact that you are a new mother. So why am I sad? Why am I anxious? Why am I angry? Why am I crying? Why is everything heavy? You know, why is my body going left when I'm asking it to go right? I remember there were so many things I crashed out about, you know. There's so many things that I crashed out about. And what makes postpartum hard is the expectations versus reality. Like, I expected motherhood to feel, because I'm nurturing her heart, I expected a lot of things to come almost innately, almost easily. I didn't think that I would have to still work to become the mother. Like, there was a part of me that thought that a lot of things would just, like, I thought that when the children showed up, my forgetfulness or my poor time management skills would just automatically get better because kids were here. No, it got worse, you guys. Like, my time management skills got worse. Time blindness for me got worse after the children were born. My inability to complete a task got worse. My lack of organizational skills got worse. So there was just I now had to start exerting 10x the amount of strength to do basic, mundane, everyday things, to complete tasks, to make sure I was there on time. I'll set like 50 alarms. I'll call 2 friends. I bet call me at 2:30, then call me again at 2:45, then call me again at 3, just to make sure that I'm on the way. Like, there were just all these things that I had to put, all these parameters in place. And I was like, man, so you mean tell me I have to carry myself and then carry these people, and I cannot fall any of our hands? And then the expectations on who my partner should be versus who he is in when the children are born, and how I project all these, this is how things should go, and when they don't end up going the way they should, how that just shows up. And not too much on even the father of my children, lovely guy, wonderful guy, but like postpartum is just, you're just so unkind in your head, right, that you don't even have empathy. Like, I remember one of my friends that just had a baby, she was like, her husband snores. I'm like, baby, he's been snoring this whole time. Why? She said, but now that the child is born and he's snoring, he's pissing me off even more. I said, girl. And then I remember that actually, postpartum, you just want to slap. You just want to slap some. Just be like, why are you even just here? Mommy and I racked inside my postpartum. Oh my God. Not so much on her, because I can't really fight her. If you know her, it's not like I fought. But like, there was a version of me that emerged that she was like, like, everybody around you should just give you a new mom, and you're around a new mom and she's acting mad. Just, I beg. I want to use God to beg you that please just understand that she's doing her best. Like, you cannot even begin to imagine how it's doing her. And I think for millennial moms especially, because I think the boomer moms, those ones are made of Teflon. Nothing used to, everything is odeshi for those ones. But if you see them today, they are still postpartum. They're still going to postpartum because they haven't addressed it. But for us millennials who feel our feelings out loud and have a lot more self-awareness than most of the generation before us, postpartum really feels like a mindfuck, because you know yourself. I know who I am. I know where I start. I think there were days in my postpartum, I would sit down in one place in my mind's eye, and I would just see myself go. And I would just go, and I'll just be sitting down, and I'm like, God, so when will she return? This is me to myself. As I've gone far, I've probably said something or done something, or I'm feeling a heightened feeling of something that is really not that deep. Like, I can hear myself in my head saying, but this thing is not that serious. Like, this cry you're crying it doesn't warrant, this issue doesn't warrant these tears. I am telling myself that, but I'm just watching myself go. And it's almost it's the kind of thing where I have to let myself go and then see if I will even come back. It might take a day, it might take 3, it might take a week. When I now come back, I'll now start the apology tour. I'm so sorry for the way I acted. I know that obviously it was unwarranted, but I just hope you can forgive me. I think that I definitely am going through. Shout out to my husband. Word for word is definitely one of the. I think I'm going through a lot, and maybe I should see someone. Yeah, because I'm not. I don't feel like myself. And for a lot of people, when you see a new mom and you're just like, what's her problem? I don't know how to explain what her problem is, but there are many problems. One, let's even chemical imbalance of the hormones, like things that there's more of something, too little of something, everything is upside down. The awareness of the fact that you are not feeling like yourself. Impatience, because you're like, okay, so when am I going to feel like myself? Can I? Wednesday? Maybe by next week, will I be myself? Time is going, you're still not feeling like yourself, and then that starts to build anxiety. And then that anxiety leads to more behavioral changes, and then that can now lead to a deeper depression. And so all of this is happening inside while the baby is there and the house is there to manage. And there's also, and life is lifing a mile a minute. People are, and when a baby is born, there's a lot of family around, more than you would even like. So as I'm on these bad vibes, you are now having more family members in your face space than ever before. You're not having a lot of, okay, there's naming ceremony, there's all this one, there's 40 days, puff, depending on what your religion is and what your what you will believe in. Somebody, our grandpa is coming to see the baby from, your colleagues are coming to see the baby, everybody wants to come. And then they're walking into the house and everybody's focusing on this baby. Nobody's even checking on the mommy. Please, let me just use this avenue. Let me just use this platform to beg people. When you go visit a new mom, acknowledge the work she has done to become that new mom. Don't focus all your time and energy greeting the baby, because that baby was just born. That baby didn't do anything. The person that did the work, please, can we give her a round of applause? Take a gift. Do something that makes that person feel seen, loved, appreciated in the moment. I know that society might not think that way. And it's crazy to me that nobody thinks this way. Why are you going to celebrate this baby? This baby just, all you did was just show up. Like, you didn't do anything. You were just there chilling in the womb. The person that did all the work, people will now bypass and be going to greet the baby. Oh, what? I can't lie to you. If you see me with a newborn, you think that we're beefing. I don't rate you, this guy. I'm focused on, we will meet maybe by the time I'm like 3-4 years old. I'll jam. Mommy, well, first of all, how are you? How's your mental health? Are you okay? Have you eaten? What did you eat? Do you like it? What do you really want? If you see me with a new mom, I think it's probably a trauma response. Because, and like, my family did a great job of taking care of me. This isn't, not too much. My friends did the same. I remember my friend Nee even sent me a care package. From a lot of people actually did that for me. And I think it was when it was done to me that I was like, hey. I'll be saying, like, shout out to the baby. Shout out, Yusuf. Well done. Thank you for being here. But let me do you see the stretch marks? Whether you pushed or they cut you open, it's still... I remember when I gave birth to Kodge and I was walking around the hospital, like literally 12 hours after she was born. And then I saw the C-section mom that had just had a baby, same day, everything. I said, this is not my mate too. What I did and what you did are different. Because this babe couldn't... Like, there were so many things. I was up and running, right? I was doing things. She was... Because you have to understand, 7 layers of her flesh was cut to bring a baby out. Some people think C-section is an easier road. Baba, it's not too. Because when I saw this woman that next day, I was like, oh shit. Like, and she and I started and we had one of those conversations I'll never forget. And it was just very, because she was telling me about what happened and how she had to, and this isn't what she wanted. And she was feeling that, that unhappiness with, you're just, this is not what I wanted. And it goes back to that thing of postpartum depression. Like, what causes it is expectation versus the reality. I thought it would be different. I thought it would feel different. This is how I saw the birth going. This is what I imagined. And this isn't what I'm getting. I don't understand it. It's not nice. That postpartum, managing that, navigating that, is very ugly. Very ugly. And I just want to give somebody who's in that space right now, I just want to say I see you. Like, don't pretend. If you want to cry, cry. Leave. I should be happy, I should be excited, I feel like, and maybe just leave out that one for now. If you're sad, be sad. Just sit with yourself and allow yourself to be whatever version of you shows up. Give yourself all the grace. This is not an easy road. When people ask me, you give them one more. Because, I always tell people that I'm done having kids. When people say, don't you want more? And if you've ever asked me that and I look like I want to punch you in the face, is stemming from postpartum. It's not even stemming from the pregnancy. It's not even stemming from the labor and delivery. I think all of that is not that bad. The worst for me is postpartum. Like, pregnancy is even cute. I'll give them pregnant baby bump. We'll do photo shoots. It's cute. Labor and delivery, that one is me and Jesus holding hands. That one is even still spiritual. It's spiritual. It's like, oh, I finally see the face of God. I'll even take that. But you see, that's 3 months post. That first 3 months of the baby being born. That's where I don't like. That's the mechanic's village. That's when you're in your workshop and and do you know the worst part? If you're not able to articulate your needs, you are the car that needs the mechanic, you will still be the mechanic that will fix the car. So it's insane. Like, and I think the most brutal part of postpartum for me is when you're leaving that hospital and they give you the baby and they give you some diapers and say bye-bye. Who is going to help this baby? Because it cannot be me. You mean it's me that will still help this person? I remember when they gave me the diaper, they kept saying it's that, oh, you're leaving today. I was like, who is leaving? They said, oh, you're leaving the hospital today. I said, okay. They said it the first time. Then I was there in my doctor's, like my hospital clothes. Said, okay, so we're going to give you a bath now so you can get dressed to leave. I said, go where? He said, go home, like your husband is taking you. I was like, you sure? Like, okay, but what about the baby? Like, who would, who's going to know when she's hungry? And they were like, oh, you know, as a mom, you have this. And then I got home and I was like, oh, wow. Start downloading all the apps, all these breastfeeding apps, and they're meant to help you track. And you're there tracking, okay, how much milk. And then you now have to start, okay, how much milk did she eat? Okay, I think, okay, she's eating 4 ounces. Okay, 3 ounces, 2 ounces. Okay, no, that last one, did she eat the 3 or the 2 or the 4? Was it actually last night that she ate the 3 or the 2 or the 4? Mind you, all this one while you are still bleeding and you are wearing your own diaper. Your diaper is bigger than that baby's diaper, mind you. Then you're still there navigating, and then the sleep deprivation, you're not sleeping, and then you're still in pain. Every time you breastfeed, your uterus is contracting. There's just so much going on. I was in a state of shock for like 3 weeks. I think I even ended up back in the hospital because I felt really ill with Kishi. Ended up back in the hospital. See, I just really want to create space to be the first one to tell you, this thing is it's not meant to be nice. Oh, I don't know why I'm not feeling that mother. If you're not feeling it, it's okay. You will meet them in front. If you see me and my children today, you know how we met. You know that how we met was not rainbows and sunshine. You would think it was, when you see us today, you think it was Disney. I was like, I remember when I was younger, and one of my friends was telling me about how her mom had postpartum depression, and how her mom, because her mom's postpartum depression was so bad that I think she was suicidal or something. And that friend of mine at that time had internalized this to mean that her mom hated her. She was about 13 when we were telling each other this story. When we both gave birth, it was as though we should go and beg moms. It was as though we should go and call that particular mommy to be like, you don't even know what we said about you behind your back, but what we thought about you, please, was sorry. Because this one was probably fighting for her life, and even how the story was probably even told to this friend of mine was not with compassion, because she didn't understand what her mom was going through. Now we're both moms, and it's like, yeah. So this is not it. It's just to tell this. I don't really know what this episode is meant to do for anyone. It's just meant to say, postpartum sucks. Like, the first few months of having a baby, your life you would just really hate things. I mean, you might be one of those type of women that your mental health is so strong and you're able to withstand a lot of the baby blues and all that. But if you're like most people, and the thing about it is I don't know one woman who hasn't gone through or isn't going through postpartum depression. And the thing about it is I remember someone was telling me about how when you just had a baby, you're wet clay. Anything and everything that happens to you in that moment when the baby is born, you're like, it's almost like if you have wet clay, you know to handle it with care, because everything that is happening in that vessel, any little thing will have a long lasting effect. So if you poke wet clay, there'll just be a hole there and it will dry like that. For a lot of people, there's very little empathy for the new mother, because, and I remember I've had a conversation where I've had to explain to someone that there's some women that before children, they were so light, so fun, so easy to be around. And then now they're angry, they're short, any small thing, they'll be shouting. Even if they're in their 50s, I can almost bet my bottom dollar that that's postpartum depression still showing up and they don't know. Like, a lot of women are shorter. Your fuse is shorter. You're angry. You don't know how to. Some mothers, grandmothers, they don't know how to navigate big emotions without going into dark places. Like, any small thing, they're crying. Your emotions are all over the place. You say your mommy is dramatic. Guy, in so many ways, I don't know how to tell you that babe wasn't always like that, one. And two, is that whole wet clay thing. When she was wet clay, how was she handled and how has she dried? So I guess for me in this episode, I want the new mothers to give themselves grace. And then I want people around new mothers to give the new mothers grace. Take care of her the same way. Give her the same energy you're giving that new baby. The same way you would actually carry the baby to burp the baby is the same way you would be like, is everything okay? Are you good? What do you need? And some people, I mean, for someone like me, it was irritating when people would ask me, are you okay? I'm not okay. So I guess it's also just figuring out what helps, For some people, you can ask and they can tell you, do this, do that. For a lot of us, we don't even know ourselves what we want. So if you know and love this person and you know, this person loves this thing, just keep giving them that thing that they love to make sure that they know that they are loved and they are seen. Because there's also the another thing that's really annoying is when you ask, what do you want? What do you need? I don't know. I actually don't know. Would you ask this new baby, what do you want? What do you need? Just show up for me and love me, please. Like, just show up and love me, please. Please. Show up. Take this, make this burden lighter. If you can add value, add value. There's so many things on TikTok that show you about all the things you can do. Go show up with food. And then now, to the friends of the new mother, don't say, oh, we don't want to impose. We don't want to intrude. We don't want to. If you know your friend and you know that she would like your company, just show up. There was nothing more joyful to me than when people would just remember me and show up in my house. Couldn't always pick calls because calls were overwhelming. And I also can't be present on a call if I have a newborn. Just come to my house and just be with me as I'm navigating. There was a day one of my friends was there with me as Kodge had a rash, and we were just, and I was like, and she was just like looking at me. She barely said anything. But what she said about that day after was, I just saw you go from panic to solution. At one point, you take breast milk and use it to rub our body. Then you go, then you come back, then you smile. Because we don't know. We're just going with the flow. Like, there's just so much to, man. There's just so much to handle when you're at the worst and most incapable version of yourself. And that's why postpartum is so hard. It's so hard because inside that one, you dare not forget vaccine. You dare not forget doctor's appointment. And if the doctor says something and you forget, And then you have to, and then, nah, it's not nice. Being a new mom, we thank God for the glory and the opportunity and the safe delivery, but what the hell, bro? Like, what is this? I know a lot of people might watch this and be like, you people should be thankful. Let's clear that one. That, please, if you are feeling this way, don't watch this. This episode is not for you. If you're one of those people that feels that women should just be grateful and they should just be quiet, and then let's just log off now, because this isn't one of those type of. This postpartum is not. It's not like that, and a lot of women don't. We are not. It's almost like we're not allowed to say that it sucks. As a new mom, you should just be thankful for the opportunity, and you should just close your mouth. Kasha madupe. But what do we now do with all this our mind that's breaking? What do we do with our spirit that's breaking? How do we heal if we can't even acknowledge what is hurting us? Anyways, as always, I can only talk about I can only go so far without giving you my own not necessarily solution, but just what I did in those days where it was tough. I ran to God. That's how I became the Christian that I am today. I remember one of the very first things I held on to was this too shall pass, and it has passed. I think I'm still in postpartum, but it's not as heavy anymore. I am now a proud member of the hands-free parenting, where when I speak, things happen. So my voice is enough of it too. I can say, "Kishi, get down from that chair," and it's coming down. I don't have to run after him I don't have to go. I don't have to use my actual body to fix every problem. I'm not breastfeeding anybody. My body is not doing it. In fact, we're not even that. You can go a week without seeing me. I can go a week without seeing you. Remember when I traveled for the first time without my children? In fact, I highly recommend traveling and leaving children with somebody else. Travel without the kids. Don't leave them and don't feel bad. See, I think it's also very important, because depending on how you heal, because some people heal with the baby stuck to their depending on, like, this wet clay analogy I'm giving now, some people dry up and the child is fused with them. So imagine if you're drying wet clay, right? You're drying clay and another clay pot is infused. By the time the clay has dried, how do you break free? So please, you have to also figure out how to be a person still. These kids will eventually wriggle themselves. They'll find their lives. They're not you. They don't belong to you like that. They're not yours in perpetuity like that. You have them for a little while, then you have to start to let them go and be independent, and you have to maintain. So if you can, get comfortable with living, not living like neglect, but living to just be a person and be comfortable with being a person, because that's also another very scary part of postpartum. Because it's so hard, you can just find yourself enmeshed with that newborn in a way where you can't even separate yourself from the child when they grow up, and you're stuck there, and you can't. They want to now do things with their lives, and you let me not go too deep, but there's so many people that are coming to mind now where your children are trying to do things, and it's like that they need to do for themselves, but you won't let them because you need them around you, and you still want to keep them as babies. And it's like that person just hasn't healed from postpartum, or they didn't heal well, or their clay did not dry well. So our daddy here, Eric, was asking a question, and he said, how can husbands... Wait, do we want Eric to ask the question officially?
Well, I just wanted to know how husbands can
Okay.
Because we don't exactly understand this fully. We can't exactly understand this.
No, you can't.
So it's like, how can we help? Top 4 ways.
Top 4 ways to help your wife. I think one thing you can do is take her out of motherhood and back to selfhood. Be the avenue to remind her that she is a person. It's not always going to be easy, but just keep trying. Don't give her that mommy is so and so. Don't do that. Don't call her that. Don't change. Don't see her as that. She has to always be the person that you know her to be, because a lot of the time you'll be the only person that will still see her as the woman that she was before the child. In everybody's eyes, she's now mommy so and so. So for you, the father, she has to remain your girl, and she needs that. She really needs that, because it is from that she will now start to, even if she's going to redefine or rediscover, but you've created that pathway for her to always be that with you. And it's important that she has that with you. 1, 2, the things that she likes, not the things that she needs, because you're handling needs. The things that she likes, those little things, or if you are even paying attention to the changes, not again, God bless men, don't go and buy a blender or microwave or something for the house. Like, okay, you like this flavor of cocktails, shout out cocktails. You like this particular thing. I've gotten you 12. Let's see if you still like the one you used to like. Let's see which one do you like more now. Have you tried this one? I thought, just be thoughtful. It will suck for you too, because she's also, you have to understand that you're in a state of panic, because you're like, what the fuck is going, like, imagine you are, a volcano is erupting inside of you, and you never expected. I didn't know it was going to do this. I didn't know this was what it was going to be. You just need someone to be calm. Like, no matter what type of storm rages, you have to meet her with calmness. You cannot follow her and be storming off. Both of you cannot be doing janglova. One person has to be like immovable, and your strength will come from the Lord. You said 4 things. I'm trying to think. So the first one is remind her of who she is. Second one is do nice things for her, not for the baby. I think the third thing is be the calm, like be the peace. Whatever version of her shows up that day, oh, my little chaotic mess, you're my mess. Do you know what I mean? Like, whatever version you see that day, just be like, man, choose to love that version, no matter how hard. I'm trying to think of what else I can tell you. Give yourself grace too, because it's going to be hard. Like, lower your own expectations too. I didn't know she would crash out like this, or whatever version of her you see. And if the whole postpartum she's normal, because look, this thing, it shows up in different ways. Some people are able to present or able to mask your emotions well, and nobody knows that you're raging on the inside. For some people, they don't even know that they're raging. Some people are not self-aware. That's actually one thing I am jealous of. There's some people that they don't even have the self-awareness to know that they are losing it. They don't even know. It's other people that will tell them. They'll be like, Like, I have a very wonderful woman in my life that when she was going through menopause, I knew she didn't know. Now me know that. Hey, are you serious? Yeah. So that year, that's what was happening to you. We now know. Really? Yeah, I didn't. Some people aren't self-aware. They don't even know. So it's you that will know that she wasn't always like this. So this thing don't do her like this. So let's actually help with this. So let's just be there. I think what a woman that's going through postpartum needs to know is that she's loved. She's supported. not for the children that she brought into the world, but because she herself is worthy of being loved and supported. Because what also happens with a lot of, I can only speak for myself, but when I became a mom, I know this happened to me because I felt my values shifted outside of who Feyi is as a person, and I actually became Feyi the mom that was valuable. Does that make sense? Like, I became Mommy Kodge, and that version of me was what was celebrated. And so I kind of neglected me because I was just mommy, right? And it's not talk inside. It's messy, man. It's really messy. It's really heavy. It's crazy. Like, that's why this curse of Eve, like, because go back to Bible. When the Bible says that you struggle in childbirth, like I think it extends even into postpartum. You will struggle. It's a struggle. That is really the curse of Eve, and that's why it's the most difficult thing I've ever experienced is becoming a mother. Becoming a mother almost destroyed it. In fact, it did destroy. I had to rebuild. I was like, I don't exist anymore. Let's just start this thing from scratch. Do you know how it's so heavy that when I look at old pictures of myself, I'm like, oh, I miss that girl. Even if I had my first child in 2019, if I look at my wedding pictures, I don't recognize that person. When I see even the way I was dancing, I don't dance like that anymore. I don't move like that anymore. I'm not that girl anymore. So, but there are versions of her that still exist. Like, at the root of it, it's not even like I just grew past, or I morphed into a new version of. It really is metamorphosis. Like caterpillar, pupa, and then butterfly. That one serves another episode. But yeah, let me try because we don't say that I have 2 minutes left. My anchor scripture for you. 1, this too shall pass. 2 Corinthians 4:17 to 18. This too shall pass. Like, it's not forever. Most of the heavier parts of postpartum have passed for me. My work now is to just heal properly. I think I'm still, in many ways, I'm not dried up clay yet. I'm still a bit wet. So I'm still trying to figure out who the new version of me is, and to give her grace and to sit with her and to see who she is. So this too shall pass. And then God promises to give us peace. So I remember I used to say, my peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled. I say that over myself every day. And then I also used to say, be anxious for nothing, but in all things through prayer and supplication, make your requests known. And God that even created pregnancy, motherhood, postpartum. I actually really love giving God's problems back to God. Now you cause them, so you know how to help me. Also, you made me, so you know how He's doing me specifically. I beg, just run me a package of joy in chaos and peace that makes no sense. That be anxious for nothing. I'm anxious AF now. So where do we go from here? Help me, oh Lord, help me. Another one I always used to say was Psalm 121. I'll lift up my eyes unto the hills, come my help comes from the Lord. That one I just say it over myself. That's even how I start my day. If I don't have any prayer to pray, I just say, oh Lord, Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes unto the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who made the heavens and the earth. He will not suffer my foot to be moved. I just say that over myself every day because bad as it bad, I still know it's God that will help me at the end of the day. Alright, that's all from me for today. But this episode, as all episodes, have been brought to you by Swaddle and the Luxury Collection Ltd. My name is Feyi Bello, and to every postpartum mommy, please take it easy. You're doing your best. It's not easy. This thing is not easy. But you've got this. You've got this, babe. Alright, love you guys. Bye-bye.